Big smile. Hi. That's our thumbnail for after the video's done.
Awesome.
Hi, everybody. This is episode 8 of I Am in a Car, and I've got Marc from Fusion Homes. Petitpas, right?
Petitpas. It's actually Petitpas. Petitpas is close enough.
Okay. Well,
it's Petitpas, to tell you the truth.
Well, what's the best way to say it?
Petitpas.
That's
what I get in Ontario.
Okay, great. Yeah. All right, I like that. So thanks for joining us.
No problem, my pleasure.
I had the chance to see Marc at a chamber event, about a year ago, and it was great. I really loved the way you approached the whole thing, even the F-bombs.
Like in between swear words, I added some value. That's
good.
It
was sweet.
Good to hear.
So today, just taking a quick drive around with I Am in a Car.
Yeah.
And talk a little bit about leadership and kind of some of the things that you do to kind of keep yourself on track.
Hold on. This isn't Carpool Karaoke?
Well, you did mention you want to sing.
I was going to bust out a tune by Adele or something.
Feel free.
Like, hello from the other side.
That's magical.
Yeah, no, that's not.
Adele's got nothing on Marc.
I was joking with the team before coming out here. I said, don't quit my day job, right? And everything went silent. Oh man, you guys want me to quit my day job?
So on that note, with your team and leadership, what kind of things are you doing? I mean, Fusion's growing like crazy. So maybe you just give us a little intro, kind of your background, how you got into this thing, and just tell us a little bit about Marc.
Cool. Well, I'll give you the shortest version I can, and clearly I'm a guy who likes to talk. So
okay, go for it.
I think over the years I've got a little better at listening. My mom used to call it verbal diarrhea. I kind of hold it all back and right? So
everywhere.
I'll give you the short version there.
Please.
No
diarrhea in the car.
Yeah, no, not good. Today's episode brought to you by Imodium. No, I actually I started in retail, like shifting shoes. In high school, I worked at McDonald's. Really just wanted to get on the sales floor and sell as a full-time career.
Yeah, okay.
Then really like working with other people, and then managed the store, and then became a district manager, and really my background was in retail and consumer products, and leadership shifted for me when I got recruited to Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I got a call one day. I was a TELUS area manager running the stores in Ontario and Manitoba. I tried to pick a title I didn't have there.
Whatever.
I got a call.
Say whatever you want.
Right, no, I was CEO. Darren Entwistle.
TELUS Canada.
Right beside me. No, I was actually visiting one of my stores in Windsor, Devonshire Mall. I got a call from a recruiter. And they were like, listen, we've heard your name, and there's a professional sports franchise that would like to talk to you about an opportunity to run their consumer products. And I was like, just jacked, right? Because I grew up playing sports and being a huge fan of sports. And so I'm like, who is it? And they're like, it's Toronto Maple Leafs. And my heart sunk. I was like, really? Well, I'm a diehard Habs fan. Right?
Oh, no.
Yeah, true.
Okay,
I'll admit it now. Yeah, no kidding, right?
It's okay. Paul DeMarco's a Habs fan, too.
Is he good? I like Paul. Paul should do these.
That's it.
I actually listened to the recruiter, and I was really happy to tell us it was a great company. Really, it's my first exposure into personal development strategies, tying in incentives to actually how you led people, not just the kind of corporate results of the company.
Cool.
And they really walked the walk when it came to vision and values. They weren't just words on the board, right?
Awesome.
Which
is rare, super rare.
Yeah, they didn't just get in a boardroom and said, "Oh, let's be this." They really came from a position of who are we. And then where do we want to go, and how does everybody feel about it, and can everybody live it, right?
Well, it's really interesting you say that too, because I find a lot of people go through those cultural processes and vision processes, and they talk more about what they should be instead of articulating what they really are.
Yeah, and is there a part of that you want to change as you grow, and is it synergistic? Synergistic, there's a nice business word.
That was
Don't
solid.
have to misspell it.
Yeah.
Is it synergistic really with where everybody wants to go? Because values don't live unless the entire organization loves them. So I saw that at TELUS, and it was really great. And there were great anchors to make decisions around, and that was pretty consistent. But having said that, being the selfish person that I was with my career, I left. I got recruited and went to Maple Leaf Sports Entertainment. My boss was a guy by the name of Bob Hunter. Again, exposure to a great leader. My second level boss was a guy by the name of Richard Petty, who was their CEO, who I still connect with on Twitter, and you should follow Richard on Twitter. He's amazing.
Richard Petty?
Richard Petty, the CEO at MLSE at the time. And interview question was, he saw Concordia University on my degree, and he's like, tell me a little bit about that. And my first answer was, I'm going to be honest with you, I never finished.
Yeah.
I said, and that was on my resume, and nor have I finished it today. One of the biggest regrets I have. But I think I've had some experience that's compensated for that.
Sure. I also haven't completed.
Yeah, I feel bad about it because, the thing that I look positive in someone's university education is not just the content, but it's the discipline to finish.
Sure.
And so that's kind of what's been hanging over my head is when people see that they think I'm not a disciplined enough guy to get a strategic plan through and lead people. And so
that's what I think now.
Yeah. No. Thanks. Appreciate it. Good thing I'm not trying to work at Intrigue. Not that I would.
This guy's got no discipline.
Yeah, no kidding. So I interviewed with Richard, and then the second thing was, you're from Montreal. He's like, are you a Habs fan? And I'm like, I can't tell a lie. I told you I was going to tell you the truth, and yep, I am a diehard Habs fan. He's
interviewing for.
He's like, you're going to have to park that love, right? And so through that experience, I actually learned to really love Toronto Maple Leaf fans, and I mean that seriously.
Yeah, so not the team, the fans.
No, the fans, and they're loyal, and they deserve a championship. They really do. Just as long as they don't beat us to get it. And then I opened BMO Field, and so, as I was there, being exposed to a great leader in a functional role as Director of Consumer Products, oversaw the merchandise, their online stores, their in-arena operations.
That's a lot of, that's a big part.
All the teams, the licensing, the buying programs, and then there's another set of the businesses when concerts come in. It's like a one-day sales event. You got to count the inventory, count it out, big dollars. Anyways. But having worked for a good leader who wanted to see me develop and see a little bit of talent, when I declared I wanted to move forward and have his job one day, what he did was he identified all the gaps I had. So if I wanted to be the guy running the Air Canada Center, which Bob was at the time, I knew nothing about food and beverage. Right. I knew nothing about event security. Right. I knew nothing about putting on a concert. I didn't know anything about negotiating to get a concert and working with Live Nation and all those.
So there's a lot of skill sets.
So he was a big believer in exposing me to all those things. And, I sat with a guy named Michael Doyle at the time, who has his role in Vancouver, who ran our food and beverage. Patty Ann Tarleton, who's the CEO of Ticketmaster now. She ran our concert business, and exposed to her and how, I've done on the production side. Long story short, Rob, again, there goes the verbal diarrhea. I really was lucky to work for a leader who demonstrated what aligned with me as someone who reported into him and the way I wanted to lead moving forward.
Awesome.
So from there, did that. Just finished having a performance review with Bob. Got a great review, but wasn't going anywhere. He's still there today in the same position, and we still have a beer every couple months and connect. Cool. But I wanted to grow on the marketing front because I didn't have exposure there. So a company called the Printing House Canada reached out to me to be VP of Sales and Marketing. Did that for about 5 years. Got a call from a recruiter at Knightsbridge, and they were like, a guy named Lee Piccoli wants to meet you, and it's in Guelph. And I'm like, where?
Guelph?
It's like Guelph, and I'm like, oh, okay, I think that's north of here somewhere, right? I was living in Burlington. Maybe I was. Good thing I listened, right? And so I said no originally. I told the recruiter, no, thank you. Like, I have no passion for that industry. It's not my thing. And so the recruiter said, well, just come and meet me because we've heard a little bit about you. And I met Jock at Knightsbridge, and we hit it off. He's like, dude, trust me. Just talk to Lee. He's the type of guy you meet Lee and Alicia and find out what they're about.
Yeah.
And so I met Lee and Alicia. We had a 6 in the a.m. meeting because I was working in another company. I didn't think it was right to go and do an interview on their time. And I met Lee and Alicia, and I came home and told my wife, I'm taking a job.
Really?
And she says, but they didn't offer you anything. You're a pretty shitty negotiator, right? So hopefully
the skill gaps that your old leader saw.
Hopefully Lee doesn't see this and my salary goes backwards. But I just, right away, I was aligned with his vision of where he wanted to take the company, and more importantly, why. How he aligns with truly, satisfying our customers and what it needs to and why. And then ultimately treating our internal employees like customers.
Awesome.
Anyone who's worked for Lee, I'm pretty sure they'd give you that consistent feedback. So again, lucky to have had that behavior modeled for me by the person I've reported into. So I've always just tried to pass that on.
That's cool. So then on that note...
that was a long answer.
No, that's good though, man. And when we're going to talk about this idea, because...
By the way, so you don't know, we're actually in Windsor. How long that answer took? Down the 401.
That's a solid drive, an hour and a half. No, we're only 8.5 minutes. Oh, 9 minutes. That's okay for your introduction.
Sorry.
It's okay. I was trying to keep this under 12.
You should learn to talk about yourself more.
Might have to edit this one. No, it's all good. Fusion Homes is growing like crazy.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we've experienced as a team is when growth starts to happen, you got to bring in new people, and new people can really influence the culture of the company. So what have you guys done to try to stay true to your culture as you're growing so crazy?
We really believe in scaring the crap out of them. No, I'm just kidding.
Like the recruits?
No,
or the team?
Everybody, no.
Just a giant whip in the lobby. I saw that actually. It was a chain.
Don't tell anybody. That's why we didn't let you in the office. No, it's such a great question, Rob, and it's a good point because we were talking before this about your growth and where you come
big
from.
time.
It's a challenge, right? And ultimately, the people aren't the challenge, the leadership is.
Okay.
You know, and if your culture doesn't stick, you don't look at the people. That's not their accountability. It's yours.
Right.
And so how are you setting the bar for them so they understand how you got to where you are and who you were when you were small? I had to go through that when I started. We were only building 150 homes 4 years ago. We weren't in high-rise.
Right.
And I walked into that culture and felt it instantly, and I had to be educated on that. You know, and I got that education from my boss directly. He's kind of like, here's who we are, this is what we've done, this is what I expect. But I got it from my peers around the office by the way they demonstrated behaviors every day.
Right.
And so the way you keep the culture is to actually keep living it. And quite frankly, it's been a challenge for us over 2 years. I mean, we've doubled in size.
Yeah, that's huge.
Literally,
in 2 years.
In 2 years, we've doubled in size.
That just seems like it's like the Hulk, you know, like jeans are breaking and shirts are ripping. Like that's just massive growth.
It is, and you know, now we're getting to the size where like we're more like the, you know, the big steamliner ship that real hard to turn. I was going to say the Titanic, but that would be bad luck.
That would not be a good analogy.
Not good. But you know, we don't turn as quick. We're not as nimble, and yet our employees know what we need to do, and they're speedboats.
Cool.
And they're trying to tell you what direction to go in. So it's the executive team's responsibility to friggin' hear the feedback and do what's right from the customer, because at the end of the day, our employees are closer to them.
You know, that's a really neat point. The idea that the people that are closest to the problems usually have the best solutions.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, because they live it.
They're right there.
And you know, as a leadership team, your biggest challenge is to create an environment where they can share that,
right.
and there's actual science and a structure behind it, and then ultimately react on that feedback when you know it's common, right? So you got like I have 20 people now that report into me in the 2 departments, and like if I hear one bring up a concern, I want to address it with them one-on-one and hear it, because they might be the only one onto it.
Yeah. But
boy, it's safe as a leader when 18 of 20 people are telling you we're doing this and it sucks and you need to fix it.
It's also a really interesting perspective on leadership in terms of, you know, I feel like the classic kind of traditional mindset is, you know, leadership is, you know, going to set the direction, and then, you know, it's going to be top down, and this is the way that the company's going to work, strategic overview and management and then implementation on the front lines. But I mean, that's a starting point, and it seems like, you know, this idea of bottom up and like really creating that formal structure so that people on the front lines that can find issues with what's going on can then get it up back to the leadership team, whose responsibility is then to respond and make the whole thing work. And
you know, and it's funny because if anybody sees this at our work, and I'm not sure why they want to watch me on a video after listening to me talk all week, but if anybody in our work in different departments, they challenge some of the things I'm saying because we're not all there yet.
Right.
As we grow, there's pockets of it, right? But philosophically, as a leadership team, we've determined that, you know, we used to develop the strategic plans in a boardroom.
Right.
Hold on, we're not doing that anymore. Go back to your team and engage them in developing your departmental strategic plan.
Cool.
Get them bought in because it's their ideas. Challenge it because ultimately, you know, as the VP, you're accountable for the result.
Right.
But you should be endorsing that feedback and bringing it into your plan. So then when you need to do execution, it's their plan in the first place. But like any company that grows, well, we have our warts right now.
Yeah, big time.
You know? And they get exposed through growth. And
warts?
You're feeling that. Yeah, warts.
Yeah. They're not pretty.
No, they're not. And you know what? And it's funny, you know, the initial reaction is, oh, well, you know, what's going on with, you know, the staff or the customer? And ultimately goes back to the executive team every single time.
That's cool.
Because you're the ones who are empowered to make the final decision. How much do you engage and listen, and how much do you fight?
That's a good point. It's good questions. I think those are really good things for people to think about. How much do you engage and listen versus how much do you fight? And how much are you trying to push your ideas on
your
people,
agenda,
as opposed to trying to embrace the feedback you're getting from the direction from the people that are closest to the problems.
You know, there's a saying that, you know, you don't have to be the smartest person in the room. I've always had the luxury of being the dumbest person in the room. And I say that in full sincerity, but I've had to listen. So it's forced me into an environment to create the structure, to listen to it. I just got to be smart enough to put it all together, which
that's
is
cool.
what I'm trying to work on.
Well, I am, yeah, that's really neat. So then, in terms of like the organizational idea, the big kind of takeaway I'm taking from this philosophy is like, you know, it's not all top down, it's bottom up. And it's got to go both ways, and you got to get people to weigh in if you want them to buy in.
Yep.
And if you have any issues with your culture, then look in the mirror and look up to the executive team and see how they're living out their day-to-day.
Yep. And see what behaviors are they encouraging, which ones are they recognizing, where are they taking accountability.
Love it.
To changing it. And again, do you have tools in place to get the feedback? Like, you know, do you do weekly one-on-ones? Do you have professional development strategies for your employees who want them? Like, that's where the feedback comes from. And then lastly, like, you know, I'm a big believer in some of the stuff that I do and share online is, you know, behavioral observation. If if you're never in the game and observing what's going on, how the hell do you coach?
Right. Yeah. You have to
scoreboard. 3-1, we lost. Go fix the problem. Score goals.
Hey, can we just score some more goals?
Yeah, guys, figure it out. I'm the coach.
You weren't even there. Yeah, I saw the score.
Exactly.
I saw the score.
We're gonna,
our issue. We're not scoring enough goals.
We're gonna skate you like crazy at the next practice versus saying, "Listen, I watched the game. We got to work on our breakout. Clearly, I didn't do a good job in practice sharing with you guys how we're going to break out of the zone. We're going to work on that on Monday, and we're going to improve it." That's what a hockey coach does. Pretty similar in business.
I love it.
If you can't see the behaviors, how in the world do you fix them or recognize the ones that are great?
Love it.
You want me to sing again? I can sing again.
What song is that?
It's an old one. I don't know if it'll connect with the kids, but sometimes when we touch, I think it's Barry Manilow.
Very
honesty's too much.
This is the first song we've had on the show, so I'm stoked you decided to do it. But I had one more question for you, because I know we're getting close, but I wanted to just figure out, like, when it comes to your day-to-day, what kind of stuff, philosophies, mantras do you keep in your mind that kind of keep you on track and stay true to what you've kind of set out to do?
I try and make it a point to force, and I don't have a number, but to force myself into situations where I have touch points with the team and the customers every day. So, for me, that looks like going out to the sales centers for a couple hours, put it in my calendar, and just sit and observe, and I'm going to talk to the team, but I'm also going to see the customer and stay close to what they need to be successful.
And why do you do that?
How do I know how to build a strategic plan if I can't see what's going on?
So get in the trenches.
See the experience. Yeah, get in the trenches. And trust me, my team would see this and laugh and say, like, "You haven't written a deal yet." But I get out on the floor on launches and I talk to customers and I observe their behaviors, and where I can provide some guidance, I do. And
so are you supposed to be writing a deal?
Oh God, poor customer if I had to write one of our contracts. Like, real estate contracts are like these. I am not a process guy.
Yeah.
So someone's looking for like a process CEO.
Not that guy.
I'm not like, and we laugh about it at work. I know it's critical. Having said that, I know it's critical to have great processes in place. But you gotta work to your strengths. So I usually hire people who are great at that. But my team would laugh because I get impatient after 7 minutes of like squirrel, like 7 minutes of writing a contract. I'd lose my mind.
I love that, and we've actually got a really cool tool that I want to show you just when we're done.
We're doing business development here too. You selling me something? Well,
No. I'm just going to show you the tool. I'm not saying we don't sell it, but I just want to show you it. It's like very in line with that idea.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm not going to show it on this.
Take another hour.
Perfect. We're only at 17 minutes.
Long.
It's all good. People are going to just sit and watch this, in their spare time. It's perfect.
I'm going to get you tons of views because I'm going to go back to the office and click it like
crazy.
A bunch of times.
So there's no such thing as YouTube click fraud? No, I guess if you watch it 18 times, you watch it 18 times.
Maybe I enjoyed it 18 times.
Well, make sure
those count as views.
Well, I mean, your Twitter followers are going to love this, right?
Yeah, my fake Twitter followers. Yeah. I love how people...
3 cents a follower.
If we got into social media and you know more about this than I do, like, who cares about quantity? It's quality, right?
Yeah, it's definitely about depth.
But you still get all those people following you saying, "What, Insta followers today?" Like, I don't delete them.
Thank you for doing this, Marc. It was awesome. I really love the idea about this kind of top-down, bottom-up philosophy and leadership, and the idea of being in the trenches, getting beside your team, being able to observe the behavior so you can develop a plan. I think it's such a simple idea, but so many people don't do it. So I hope you guys all got some value from it. Thanks a lot for doing this, Marc.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Rob. Appreciate it.
See ya.